Thank you, and good evening, everybody. I have to say it's an absolute privilege for me to be with you tonight to celebrate 35 years of one of our longest standing members. And I say why it's a particular privilege, because I run a trade association, the Association of British Credit Unions, and I spend most of my week in Westminster or Whitehall in meetings of all different kinds with politicians and civil servants. And sometimes, if you spend all your life doing that, it's very, very easy to forget why we do any of this. And so every so often I get a chance to come to an event like tonight where it just reminds you what people helping people really means. And tonight will be fantastic for me. It'll keep me going through some really boring or really challenging meetings for weeks to come. So it's a pleasure. Thank you for doing all of this. And let's be really clear, this is a fantastic achievement, and I'm pleased that we're celebrating everybody who's taken us to this, taken Pentecostal Credit Union to this place. Now, when Pentecostal Credit Union was established, there were only 47 other credit unions in Britain at the time, and the entire sector was smaller than Pentecostal Credit Union is today. In fact, the assets of Pentecostal Credit Union today, 10 million, as we heard earlier, is actually 10 times larger than the whole of credit unions in England, Scotland and Wales back in 1980. So we've all grown up since then. There are many more credit unions in Britain now. And in the last year or so, we've broken two major barriers. We've broken through to more than 1 million people. Credit unions proudly serve more than 1 million people in Britain, and we look after over 1 billion in members' money, in the assets of the credit union. So we're on a great journey. But many of you will know that actually even now, with 1 million members, we're only just scraping the surface of what credit unions in other parts of the world have achieved. Some of you will know credit unions in the States or Canada or the Caribbean, I'm sure, Australia, South America, many parts of Asia. Credit unions typically serve anywhere between 15, and 50%, in some places probably slightly more than 50% of the population. So here in Britain, serving just under 2%, we have a long way to go. And of course, when credit unions get to that level of influence, we heard from speakers earlier, they get to a place where they really start to influence the behaviour of the banks in that country. Credit unions are often credited in many countries for keeping the banks honest. So we know where we're going. How do we get there? Well, one of the things that credit unions do in many other countries is they work together, people helping people, but at an organisational level. They build their own mutual organisations, often called credit union service organisations, or CUSOs, as the credit union people will talk about them, that provide many of the back office services, the technology and the processing behind the scenes. This allows us as credit unions to focus on our members, to serve our members at the front of the show, if you like. Now, in the United States, there are credit unions that are actually smaller than Pentecostal Credit Union, who can actually provide their members with a full range of financial services. So yes, savings, obviously, personal loans like we do now, but also good, responsible credit cards, secure car loans, maybe help with a mortgage, maybe help to buy a home, and of course current accounts as well. And they do that in the States because they have organisations built by those credit unions standing behind a lot of them. To give you a sense of just how effective this is, in the United States, the credit unions working together are actually now the second largest customer of the Visa network, the MasterCard Visa network. There are over 100 million people using credit unions in the United States. So one of the things we're doing, and I'm really pleased to say Pentecostal Credit Union is a big part of this, is we're trying to take a leaf out of that book here in Britain. Together we've built an organisation called Cornerstone Mutual Services, which has actually been backed by the government to build an organisation which will take some of that heavy lifting, some of the things that will actually enable us to progress and to serve more people. And I'm really pleased to say the leadership you have here in Pentecostal Credit Union absolutely has that vision of serving people into the future. Change, as the Bishop said earlier, we mustn't be afraid of change. We have to find a way to embrace that. And of course, credit unions in the UK are competing, and we are competing with the banks in a very, very competitive space. More and more consumers now are expecting to be able to do their banking at any time of the day or night, move money here or there, have a look at their accounts, etc. And to do that, as I say, any time of the day or night, but while they're on the move, and in all sorts of different ways. If we're going to move to that next level and to serve more people in our communities, then we need to find a way of offering those services. We need to be able to save and borrow, move our money about, perhaps on a computer, perhaps on a mobile phone or a tablet or something like that, probably just as conveniently as any other financial institution here in Britain. Now, of course, not everyone will want to do that, but one of the things that we suspect is that as our younger people grow up, they're so familiar with the digital world that we will need to find ways to serve them in that way. Otherwise, we might lose some of the younger generations and lose the benefits that the credit union has provided for all of us. So I'm delighted to say that over the next year, with Pentecostal and about 40 other credit unions, we'll be introducing, through Cornerstone, those services that will allow our members to do all the fabulous things that our credit unions do for them, and in some cases more than perhaps we're already doing, and be able to do that whether it's on the phone, whether it's coming into an office, whether it's email, or indeed do it all from my smartphone, which is a fantastic story. So I want to say thank you very much for your contribution to the success of credit unions here in Britain, for the invitation tonight, and the very best wishes for the next 35 years. Thank you.